All right, I think we can get started. Harshit, over to you.
Okay. Hello everyone. I welcome you all to the Google Developer Student Club. Today we are going to host the I'm the host for the today's event, and today's event is all about the data analysis using Python. I welcome you all to this grand event. First of all, I would like to thank Professor Parman and Dean SCT for giving this as an opportunity, and a special thanks to the Google Developers Club for bringing this to the Sharda University. Moving on, today we are going to have the event on Introduction to Data Science and Analysis using Python. And the host for today's event, sorry, extremely sorry. And the host for the today's event is Abdullah Balde. Sorry if I pronounce your name incorrect. Over to you.
All right, thank you for this wonderful introduction, and I'm happy to be here with you all. Thanks to the lead of Google Developer Student Club for this wonderful opportunity. All right, so this talk is about an introduction to data science and analysis using Python. So uh, let me go ahead and share my screen and we will get started. All right, so I hope my screen is visible to all of you. So I don't know if all of you are coming from a computer science background or if you or have learned Python before. So I wanted to take a small survey before we get started, but I can imagine that most of you have not used a lot of Python so far. So it's just a very beginner friendly introduction to Python and data science. So as the artist said, I'm Abdullah, a final year student. So if you would like this talk, you can follow me at Abdullah GK on GitHub and Twitter as well. So let's get started. So what this is basically the structure of this workshop. So this is how we are going to divide the parts, and I will be just giving you a brief introduction and background.
Abdullah,
What?
are
Yeah.
you presenting?
Yes. Yes. Can't you see it?
I
Oh,
can.
so, all right. Sorry. Oh shit, man. Sorry. Come on. How about now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's visible.
Oh, I'm so sorry. All right. So, as I was saying, so this is uh, an introduction to data science and analysis using Python. So, I'm a final year student at Shada, and if you like this talk, you can follow me at Abdullah GK. So you can follow me on Twitter and uh, GitHub as well. All right, so this is the workshop structure. So this is how we are going to uh, go through this topic one by one. So the first one, we will just go through an introduction to data science. What is data science? And we have here also many terms about data science, data analysis, and machine learning. So we will try to explain these terms in details. And after that, we just going to use this Jupyter exercise. For example, as we will be using Python for, it's a data science project, so using interactive notebook is much better. So we will try to learn about it quickly. And after that, we will go to see a general overview of Python. So we will just go from the ground level of Python, because I don't know if everybody is familiar with Python. And we will then try to work with data frame. We create a data frame and series using Pandas. After that, we load and inspect a data set that will be a real life data, and we do some analysis. And then finally, we will wrap up the talk with some questions and answers. So I hope this is clear to everyone. So, okay, so what is data science? And this term have been for around decade and decades. So this is the definition, and these are the two definitions that I find really relevant for this term. So data science is an interdisciplinary field that uses scientific methods, processes, algorithm, and system to extract and insight from structured and unstructured data. So this definition is saying that, like, we will be using algorithm, we will be using our own knowledge, we will be using some method, scientific method, mathematics, to get insight, to get to know more something about data. And this is the second definition also is almost saying the same thing. This is just saying that we will be basically applying knowledge to actionable insight that solve in a wide range of applications. So this basically is saying that we can use data science in various domains. It's not only in the domain of finance or in the domain of healthcare. In every field, every domain, basically, right now we need a data scientist. So, and these are the terms that have been used interchangeably. So we need to know exactly what is data science, what is data analysis, what is machine learning. So basically, these are almost the same, data science and data analysis, because they share the same goal, which is using data to get a better insight and to make a better decision. But basically, when you talk about data analysis is associated with the use of Excel. So you have the data, you use Excel, or you use Tableau, or you use SAS. And if you can use also software, basically, you use software to manipulate and get insight from data. And you can use also, there are some software that are known as rapid miner to get basically to mine the data, to get some insight from the data very quickly. And on the other hand, like data science is often associated with programming, so you will be using programming to deal with a massive data set. So you will have a bunch of data set because right now we are generating gigabyte of data. Everything almost is connected to the internet, and we are generating gigabyte of data. So we'll be using programming for that, and Python is more suitable for that because it has so many other stuff, and we will go over that later on. So this is also about asking intelligence questions when you are about analyzing your data. For example, is the data point from the original clusters? Is there a connection between these variables? So this is something that I have to emphasize. I can sometimes use future, I can use variable. So it all means the same thing, which is column, right? So is there a relationship between age and cancer? For example, if I'm analyzing the breast cancer data set, or is there like a relationship, is there a correlation between gender and salary, for example? These all kind of things we can just try to check. And how about machine learning? So basically the definition that I like from a pioneer of data science, which is Arthur Samuel, he said that machine learning is the use of data to extract, is the use of data to process data without programming, like to extract knowledge from data without getting the computer basically to learn without being explicitly programmed. So this is what we call machine learning. And we apply, in terms of machine learning, we apply algorithms, like we will be using more statistic and a linear algebra to do the analysis and try to predict something. For example, if we want to check, we want to predict if it's going to rain tomorrow, so we have a bunch of data, we will apply some algorithm that will help us to predict if it's tomorrow is going to rain or not, or if how likely a person is to get how likely a person is to get cancer, for example, or a different kind of disease. All right, so this is what is data science. This is Python for data science, and why I choose this one. Why we choose Python, for example. This is basically the question: why we choose Python? Because we have so many other languages like C, C++, Python, and there are a bunch of programming that we can use. So basically, all these programming languages, you can use most of them. You can use them, but Python provide so many things that make it so easy to learn. First of all, it's very easy to learn, and it has some useful add-on library developed by great developers and open source communities. So communities are there and they are developing packages, and you can definitely pull them using pip or conda. You will be able to use them. And also there is one thing that people complain about Python, which is Python is slow. Yeah, of course it's true, Python is slow, but Python, most of the libraries that they are right now implementing, they are using faster language. They are using such as C++ or C to wrap it up, because these are implemented for fast and vectorization operation on multi-dimensional arrays. For example, you have arrays, and if you want to perform an operation on, let's say, 100 by 100 matrix, so that means an array, right? So you will be able to use C++, which is going to do the operation on that particular array faster than Python itself. So I was talking about the different type of data because we talk about data science. It's all about data, and I want to go over the difference between the different type of data that we have. So basically, we have mainly two type of data, and these are also these has subcategories that we will just talk about, and which are mainly structured data and unstructured data. So you can see structured data as a data that depend on the data model and reside in a fixed field within a record. So for example, if you record your any data on an Excel sheet, so that means it's a fixed field, you have a fixed field. So that means that's a structured data, and you can easily access that data and do some manipulation on that data. And when you talk about unstructured data, so it's, for example, you can think of your email or your video. these are the data that you cannot, it's not easily like, you won't be able to easily store them in a fixed site, fixed record basically, and the context specific on vary, like you have so many type of these, and basically you can think of these as images or video or sound. These are all unstructured image, right? And so the next one, I want to go over the process of data science. So what these are the steps that we have to follow if we want to do any data science project. So I will go over this and explain this one by one, which is setting the goal process. So basically, you need to know exactly the goal of the project. And then the next one is retrieving the data. And the third one is data pre-processing. The fourth one is data exploration. The fifth one, we have data modeling, and we have data pre-processing, finally, the last one. All right, so this is just setting the research goal, and this is basically what you have to do. You just need to know that data science is applied in the context of organization where you have to perform a task. For example, your boss can ask you to do this project, and what you have to do, the first thing is to exactly see how your project, what you are going to do, is going to benefit from the organization, how they are going to do it. And the next thing that you have to do is to draw, to make a flow chart, for example, a chart, right, that will help you to identify these are the research goal and what where you are going basically. And that's mandatory, and you need that. And also you need data and resources to use, because you cannot do any kind of talk about any data analysis or any kind of machine learning without having the data. You need to be sure that you have the data, and that data need to be relevant. And for example, I mean by relevant that the data has to has a relationship between what you are doing. For example, you cannot use a medical data in agriculture. That's impossible. You will just do wrong prediction, and your work will not be in it. And you need also a timetable. You need like a timetable. You need to explain, in this period I will be doing that, in this period I will be doing that as well. So retrieving the data, this is the second step, which is collecting the data. So you need to have, after having the project chart, you need a data. You need to find data. Where can you find data? And there will be many ways you can find the data. If the company doesn't have that data, the company also can also deliver be have can have the data by just contacting any companies that has that particular data they need, right? Which means they can also be delivered by third-party companies. They can take many range, like they can come from many range. So you can have Excel sheet, or they can give you an API where you have to go to a website to pull the data using some APIs, right? To get that particular data you need for your project. And this is the data preparation. So which is this is very crucial point. This is essential. This is the most important part of any kind of data science project, which is uh, preparation of the data. So basically, you have to know that data collection is prone to process, like it's prone to error basically, which means you can easily make mistakes while collecting the data, right? In this case, it consists of this subfile. For example, we have data cleaning, removing the false values. I mean by false value, for example, let's say I'm having an age column, and in that age column I have somebody who has 300 age. They put 300, and I know that's right now impossible, right? So that means it's an error, right? So I have to remove that particular data. And inconsistency across data, for this inconsistency, which means basically, I give just an example. I have a column where I have gender. I have male and female. It's written male and female. And I have also, like in that one, I have two classes. I call that those classes if I have two things. I call them as classes. In all that column, I have those fields, they are filled by female, male, female, male. So, and in that, I have also another one, which is known as capital F, like single letter, capital F, which I don't know exactly if it means female or male. So I have, it's confusing a bit. So I have to make sure that I handle that properly. So that means error and inconsistency across the data. So you also be combining data. So for example, I have multiple features. I see if there is a relationship between them, if I can combine them to make sense of any other useful variable. I can transform them. For example, I have to make sure that the data type is correct. For example, if I have, for example, let's say I have a date, like the date, for example, today date and tomorrow, and uh, in that date I have the timestamp that's supposed to be in timestamp date time basically. And if it is object, I have to change the object to date time to be able to extract easily to be able to extract easily the date, the day, the year, for example. And also, for example, if I have any kind of categorical variable, I have to pre-process, I have to get transform that one using the dummy. I have to get dummy in that one so that it will give me numerical values in that one that will be suitable for my model basically. And this is data exploration. So data exploration, which concern building deeper understanding of your data. You try to understand how variables interact with each other by using the distribution of the data and whether there are outliers. And to achieve this, you mainly use statistic and visual techniques and sampling method. So basically, this step is also very important because representation of data, if you see numbers also, seeing the numbers will not tell you much. And if it's someone that is having, for example, someone coming from business and doesn't have much time to look at things, it will be a bit tricky, So if you visualize things, you try to plot graph, then it will make things much easier for you to explain. And for the person that you are explaining, for example, you build your project and you have to solve your project your boss. So visualization is very important. The person that you are explaining will be able to understand that one very much, very much. And in this step, like while you are exploring, why you are trying to understand what is exactly this data. For example, if you have data age, for example, or let's say you have salary, exact salary date column, and in that column you have values, salaries, for example, $200 and $100, and you have someone who has 1 million. So the difference between 200 and 300 and 1 million is very large, right? So that 1 million is considered as outliers. So that means it's extreme values, it's higher than this. And you can detect all those outliers using box plot. It's suitable for this. I will, when we go to the notebook, I will show you all these visualization techniques that I'm talking about and modeling. So this step also is used. They just use this acronym EDA, which stands for exploratory data analysis, right? All right, so this is the fifth step, which is data modeling or model building. So this is basically, it involves a bit of data science, but basically if you hire a machine learning engineer, this is his work, will be the work of machine learning engineer. So this concern of model building, so trying to use statistic and machine learning, operational analysis, and so on to build a model to predict. So to predict, for example, if you want to predict how likely a person is to get a bank account, for example, for example, when you are doing any research related to financial inclusion, or if you want to check if somebody is having cancer or not. So you have to train your model using statistic, machine learning, and linear algebra for that. And that model, these are the steps that you have to follow also. So the model building is an interactive process, which is concerned of selecting the variable. It's not all the variable, all the features. I mean the variable, the column basically. Or it's not all the variables that you have can be relevant for your model. For example, if you have ID, which means a key, if you talk about SQL, a primary key, that means uniquely can identify all of your data. So if you have that one is not relevant because it having fixed number and it's not changing. So that one is not relevant when you are building your model. You need to remove that one. And you have to select variables, and some variable basically doesn't have anything to do what you are trying to predict. And also it concerns of model execution. model execution basically means training the model. In this phase also, it's very important because we have so many algorithms that we can use. We can use neural network as well. And how to choose the best machine learning algorithm, that also another task that you have to know. And this also concern knowing exactly what type of problem that you are dealing on. If you are, for example, dealing with classification, or if you are dealing with regression, if you are doing with classification, if it is a small data set, you can apply a simple linear logistic regression. If you are working with regression data, you can just try to apply a linear regression on your data, try to fit the model. And model genesis means evaluation of the model, and just doing what we call hyperparameter tuning in terms of machine learning, which concern trying to get the best possible parameter of the model. You evaluate your model, you check how good, how accurate your model is, basically. And this is the last step, which is a presentation and automation. Finally, after you do all these 5 steps, you have to present your result to your business. And the result may come into different form, that can range from presentation to research paper. Sometimes you will need to automate things. For example, if your company need to use that particular model or your particular project to do another similar project. So that means you need to automate the execution of the project, because the business want to use that to gain insight to another project that enable the operation process to use the outcome of your model. For example, if you train your model, the model is doing well, they can use it for another model. So basically, this is the end of this part. So we have two parts, and let's jump to the notebook, and we will try to start with a quick, as I was saying, a quick overview of Jupyter notebook, and then we will start to write some Python code, and we will do the analysis of a data. All right, so let me just stop this. And all right, so I'm going to activate my environment. I hope people are familiar with the notebook. But before I do this, let me show you something. So the notebook is available on our GitHub account. So we have a GitHub account. Let me quickly show it to you. So I want to just show you where you can find the project. Everything is already there, and all the code. So basically, this is if you type this, I will share this to the chat just now. So this is the Google Developer Student Corps Shara University GitHub repo, and these are the people that contributed. So let me just go ahead and pull to sorry. I'll just all right. So this is the GitHub repo. So we have these repos already. So this is the event file. So if we have any event, if you want to check it, you can come here. And this is the file. And if you come here, you will see this workshop DSC. So what you can do is to clone this repo. You click on clone, you copy it, or you download it. When you download it, you can unzip it. And if you are not familiar with the command line, you can download it. And once you download it, you don't need basically to have Anaconda installed on your system. So I'll show you when you download it, what you can do to be able to run it. If you want, you can follow along with me. What you can do, you can type here Google Colab, right? So you can use Google Colab. When you type Google Colab, the first link you see, just click on it, right? You already have downloaded the folder from this repo. You have it on your system, right? So when you have this, what you can do, you go to Drive, or you go to Drive. Or you can also close this one. You can cancel this. It's fine. So when you are here, this is fine. So when you are here, you need to go to File, and then Upload Notebook. You click on Upload Notebook, and then it will give you this option to choose the file, right? And then I'm here. I'm already in this folder, so which is a workshop, the DSC workshop. I just click Open. When I click Open, it will load this, to my Google Drive, and you will see it will open here, and I will be able to run this without disturbing anybody. I could share, for example, this with you, but here it will be better, and you can see everything. Everything is that here already. I already explained things and wrote things. So um, but for this, you can just do this, or yeah, you can do this, or you can clone the repo. As I told you, you can clone the repo and then start a Jupyter notebook. This file will be there. You will be able to use it for yourself. So this is this. I'm coming back to my host, my local host machine, so that I will just continue with that. But for now,
Excuse me.
yeah.
Can you please make sure is at the same pace?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's what I was doing. So if you have any questions about the PPT or what I explained this, please feel free to ask. I will just take a moment to get questions from the previous slide, and then for this one as well, before we just get the hands-on Jupyter notebook. Any questions?
yeah, what I'm saying is that you did show them how to clone the repository, right? The GitHub repository where everything actually goes down,
Yes,
and how to do it using Google. So,
yes.
can you please just make sure everyone has done it? Some of us on the repository, or some of us just downloaded the zip file and then they unzipped it, and then now they have it in there. They have uploaded it in Google Colab to be at the same pace and level with you.
All right. Yeah, sure. So, yeah. So if you have any doubt, please, I hope everybody has done that. Can you try to explain, to say something about it? Like, I would like to hear from you if anybody is having any issues. We can try to help. Any questions?
Yeah, and I think if you're not comfortable unmuting the microphone, they could type the question
Yeah.
in the chat.
Yes, yes. You can also type the question on the chat and we will look it up. I hope the explanation. I think it was a bit fast, but you just need to type this name DC, and the link is already given there. When you click, automatically it will bring you here, and you need to just to click on clone. Let me even do it. I just need to clone here. I'm going to use the CLI, right? So So I just try to get clone and then I paste it here, right? I press enter for myself. And then you can do the same. So I already, it's downloading and it's already done. So if I do ls, I have already the file here, file for event. So I can just cd into that one. And I have the folder here. So I can cd into it, right? And if I do ls, I have everything here. I have the data set, the PPT, and the notebook. Everything is here, right? So I can just activate my, here I didn't activate my environment in this one. Otherwise, I can just activate it and type Jupyter Notebook or Jupyter Lab or Anaconda. It will just show up and you can be able to continue to click on it. Or shall I just go ahead and do it?
I believe it would also be helpful if you
Okay,
download the
so
zip
I already, all right. So so
because
this
I
is
don't
how you
think
could do it. If you want also download the zip file, you can just come here and do download. And let me put it into download, and I'll open it. It's here. The file is here. You can see it. So I double click in it for me. It's already, I think it's supposed to be yeah, it's already fine. When I click on it, it will unzip it automatically. I have the zip file here and the unzip here, so I can then go ahead and delete the other one. So when I click on this, I have the files here, right? I can open the data set. This is the data set, basically a very small data set. I hope it makes sense. This is the data set, basically. I hope it's clear. So, to check please if there is any questions there before we move on.
All right. I think there is no question after you pasted the link to the Git repository.
All right, cool. So, shall we continue?
I have a question, please.
All right.
I've downloaded the file. I've unzipped
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
file. So me, I'm using
Yes.
PyCharm. Is it okay?
Um, no, Python is not okay because this is Ipython and notebook. It's an interactive notebook. If you are using Python, is just a text editor. It's not like it doesn't have an interactive web. So you cannot use Python. If you have VS Code have the extension of Jupyter notebook, you can use it, but you cannot use Python for this simple Python things. Like if you want to write the Python code one by one, that will work inside Python. But this is web thing. Like we just want it to be like this, cell after cell, cell after cell, to run it like this, so that we will be able to see the output after each one. That Python doesn't provide that. Basically, I hope that answer your question.
Thank you. So
Yeah,
I
try
try to install
for to
Jupyter. It's okay.
to install Jupyter. I think if you want that, you have to download Anaconda. You have to come to their official website, Anaconda Navigator, right? So this is the web page of Anaconda Navigator. You click on it. So you have to download it and install it. You will be able to then use it. So here is Anaconda, and it depends on your software, for example. Oh, no. It's not here. Download
Abdullah,
Anaconda. Yeah, it's the download Anaconda. Yes,
Don't
yes.
worry. I have the setup, but I haven't installed. I have the setup.
All right. So
I will just install it.
here is it. If it depends on your system, if you are Linux, Mac, and Windows, you can click on it, download it, and install it, and
Okay.
then it will work.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
But for today, I think you can use the Google Colab. It's fine. It provides you RAM, and it provides you everything. For example, let me just run the first cell here. You will see how it's allocate things, and this is locally it's on the cloud, and you can access it anytime. You only need internet and a device. You will be able to access it anywhere. So it's initializing things, and you will be able to see it's now connected, right? So you have the RAM and the disk. So I run it, and you see the output here. Welcome to the Google Developer Student Club, right? So if I run this cell, it will just work out fine. So the output is here already, right? Makes sense. Any other
ex-
questions?
excuse me.
Yes.
Yeah, I think not everyone has GitHub as of now, and downloading Anaconda to get Jupyter in it is going to be a little bit time consuming. Don't you
Yes, yes.
think we could? Don't you to use the Google Colab?
Yes. That's what I was saying. Using the Google Colab is much better when you do this. You just need to type. Let me repeat the process again so that it will make. You have to write just Google and then Colab like this. Google Collaboratory, but you can write Google Colab. You press enter. It will show you the first link. You click on it, and after clicking on it, it will load. And you have this. If you have the file, you can put it here. It will work. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do cancel, or I create a new notebook, for example. If I want a new notebook, I can create a new one. But I want to upload. I can also come to upload here directly. I have this option, drive. If I have this thing to my drive, I can do it. If I have it from my GitHub, I can pull it from here very easily, right? And if I want to upload, I can come here, upload, and then select the file that I want to upload, and then click open. It will directly upload it to my Google, my Colab. And then when I upload it, it will, when it get uploaded, it will automatically open itself. You don't need to do anything. When it's upload, it will automatically open, and you are good to go. Makes sense, right?
Yes, I think there is a message in the chat box. Let me just check it out.
All right.
Smita said you can access the collab from the widgets section, so near your icon or like right corner of the Google. That was just an input from Subashmita. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
All right, so I hope everybody is in the same page, right?
Um, Please, you all type in the chat box if you all are on the same page. I personally
If you are on the same page, you can just notify and we just continue.
say yes in the chat box, please. We don't want to keep moving and leaving some people
People
behind.
behind, yes. Sorry, 1 second.
All right, perfect. We have two people who said yes. What about the rest of you? All right, there is still one person, so let's wait for him. What about the rest of you? Abdullah, could you please repeat the process of going to the Git repository down
All right,
slowly?
all right. So if you want, you can write, I think, the Google DSC and then Shada University. Let me see. And then when you type this, you will when you type Google DSE and then space Shada University, you will see this one. You will see this GitHub repo, right? Click on it. When you click on it, it directly bring you to this page, and this page has all the repository that we are using. And you go to File for Events. You click on this. When you click on this, you will see the workshop here, the workshop file here. You only need to come click on clone and then download it and unzip it, or you can clone it if you are familiar with the CLI. You can clone it using either SSH or HTTPS. You can clone it, and if you download it, you have to unzip it, and you will get this folder, and you move to this folder. You open Anaconda, Jupyter Notebook, Jupyter Lab, or uh, you you can be able to access everything, or you can also open Colab and try to upload it directly from there to get this page, to get to this page, basically. I hope this is clear. Or if
Yeah,
that's far also, like you can, when you type my GitHub name, like you will just see me for and this, and the first, I think the first link you will be able to see, um you'll be able to see this. Oh, sorry. You will be able to see this file here, like my repos. When you check them out, you will be able to see this thing, and you click on this one, and you are still back here. I hope everybody is on the same page, right?
yeah, we have four yes. I
All
think
right,
we can.
so all right. So basically, there are Jupyter Lab, Jupyter Notebook, and Ipython. So you can install. These are all. In fact, let me zoom it a bit. Is it visible now? Right?
Yes,
It's
yes.
correct. So basically, we have Jupyter Lab, Jupyter Notebook, Ipython. Right? You can install all these things. Like the Ipython is an interactive cell that you can use. It's like help you to interact with things properly. So let me show you what I mean by. I show you what I mean by Python basically. So when you type here Python in your terminal, if you have Python installed, it see, I have to activate your terminal Python. So when I type Python, I have this Python notebook, interactive notebook. For example, if I type here a equal to 10, and then press enter, I press A, it will print A. The output is 10, right? You can see it here, 10. And if I do print, it will print hello world for me. So this is the CLI, this is the Ipython notebook. You can exit it by just writing the exit as Python code. So fine. All right. So and also we have Jupyter. Jupyter just is a Python library that provide web-based UI. That on top of that you can create notebook and with the code and the output. You can see the code and the output. So you have also binder, but this is basically I'm not going to talk about this binder, so it's fine. Leave it. I wanted to talk about it, but it will take time to set things up. It's fine. So basically, let's just go about how you can do things when you are in Jupyter. So basically, these are files. For example, if you want to see files, the difference between Jupyter Notebook and Jupyter Lab is that Jupyter Lab provides this file explorer option. It has some more functionality. Like you can come here and see in which folder you are, right? And which is very convenient. And Ipython, Jupyter Notebook doesn't provide that, only Jupyter Lab. If you want to run the Python code, you have this run button. You will click on it, or you can press Shift and Enter. Shift and Enter will just run the cell anytime you are having a cell. If you have the kernel, if your kernel die, you can come here. You can restart your kernel, and so on, right? I don't know if my kernel is working. If you want to run a cell, I think, wait, I need to start my Jupyter, just sorry. Let me restart this. I think it was loaded, when it was loading, there was an error, so. All right. It's initializing for the kernel to come here. You can see here. All right, so now I have the kernel. I think now everything is working fine, right? Yeah, now everything is working. So I have these options, right? I can run a cell. I can select a cell and run the cell, that cell, and the cell, I insert a cell below. I can go to view if I want to tag a line number, if I want to add some extra functionality. For example, if I want to see the line numbers, I can just click on this. It will toggle the line numbers, right? I think there is a problem. It's my computer. Why it's still not working? All right, so I can come to view and toggle line number. I already toggle it. So there are many functionality that you can explore if you wanna undo a cell. It's here, Control Z. These are the shortcuts that you can use. And if you are really familiar with Vim, these are all. It will be much more easier for you because DD is to delete a cell or to cut a cell, YY to paste a cell. So basically, I changed. Maybe you will see some changes on this because I installed Vim in this Jupyter lab. So I'm using Vim in Jupyter lab. So these are the functionalities you can use. But just know that these things, what I wrote here, all these, it's markdown. It's known as markdown. You can see from here, it's written markdown. And when I run it, Shift and Enter at the same time, it will just execute that particular thing. And this is not code. This is not code. It will not execute. It doesn't have anything to do with the code. And if I press Shift and Enter, it will execute that particular thing. So I hope this is clear. And let me hide that. All right. So after the quick Jupyter, we have this is what we are going to talk about. Quick overview of Python. We'll be talking about the print hello world because I don't know if everybody is familiar with Python. We talk about list, tuple, and dictionary as well. So what is list? List is just a data structure in Python that is immutable. It is mutable, means you can change things in the list. You can delete, you can add element in your list, and you define a list using square bracket, right? Square bracket. And tuple is the opposite of list. You cannot do a mock change. It's unchangeable order sequence of element, and that element can be of any type. And basically, when you create a tuple, you cannot modify it. I'll show you all these with example that will make more sense, I believe. So dictionary also is here. We have that this is just a key value pair. dictionary is the key value pairs, where you can use the key to access the values. And this is a useful way to store data in Python, basically. And these are the library that we'll be using, which is Pandas, Matplotlib, and Seaborn. Pandas is a data manipulation and analysis library. It's help us to use like operations of for manipulation of numerical table and time series. So like this is basically you have a data set, you can load the data, you can do some manipulation, mathematical operation on your data, and that will help you. And this matplotlib is a Python 2D plotting library that use pyplot as a collection of commands that can make the style to function, and you can use it for doing graph to plot things. And it's very similar to if you use like MATLAB before. It's very similar. And Seaborn also is a library that is built on top of Matplotlib, and it works almost the same, but it has so many nice features. It has nice features than Matplotlib, basically, and that's why we use it. And um, all right, so these are just what I was saying. Like these are just some. If you have the notebook, you will be able to go over these things. Like if you are writing on a cell, you wanna skip, you press on skip and you get out of that particular cell, right? That's convenient. And if you wanna execute the cell, you press shift and enter. In this case, I already told you. And skip is to get out of that one. And these are some useful key that you can use. A to append, to create a cell below, capital A to create a cell above, B to create a cell below, and you can use tab completion, for example, in a tab, shift tab, this I already explained. And DD, if I want to delete a cell, I use DD. And Control Z or Command Z to undo an operation. For example, if I wrote something, I want to delete it, I will use it. So, for example, this is my cell. Oh, let me do one thing. Cool. All right. So this is my first cell. So when I click on it, this is my cell right now, right? And you can see there is any number. If I wanna now run the cell, I just press shift and enter at the same time. So you see it just print this one, and it will print it and go to the next cell. But if I'm using the run button, it will just execute this particular cell, but it's not going to do anything to the next one. It won't make the other one ready to execute. It will just execute this one. But for you to be able to use your mouse, always come here. It's better you can use the shortcut shift and enter. For example, if I want to type anything, like this is interactive things, right? I can type my name, I can type anything, it will print. And sometimes I even don't need to print anything, right? For example, I create a cell here by pressing B, and then I can just say A equal to, for example, data science, right? And when I press escape, so I get out of it. So if I do A here, I just put A, I didn't do print. So when I press shift and tab, it will execute, it will just execute and run this one. And you will see the output as data science below. So this is very important. And this will work only when you are using Ipython notebook, when you are using Jupyter notebook or Jupyter lab. If you are using, as someone was asking about Python, you will not be able to do that. You have to type the print in that case, because that's a text editor. It's different from this web interactive base. And you have, for example, you can do arithmetic operation in Python. This is basically, if you are new to Python, this is how you can start to learn. This is the basic thing. Like if you want to print anything to the screen, you have to write print, and then you double quote or single quote, both will work, and then what you want to print, and then that will print it. So this is very important. Also, you have to make sure that the order of the cell, it doesn't matter, but if you are working on a project, sometimes it's really matter. For example, if you convert your data above in a one cell, and then you train your model in another cell, you refuse to run the convert data, and you run the model, that will not work. So you have to be careful with that as well. So this is where I can do arithmetic operations. For example, I can add two numbers, I can divide two numbers, I can do any kind of arithmetic operation, so in this cell. And this is just, if you see this dot format and so on, this is just a way of formatting the code, making it looks nice the way I want it to be. You can organize it in any way you want, basically. And this is just, you can use conditions as well. In Python, we have if else as any other programming language. But if you come from C or Python, C++, there will be a slightly small difference between these. Instead of writing else if in Python, we write the shortcut is elif, which stands for else if. And this is just to check age of someone. For example, I say age equal to 10, and if the age is greater than 10, I will just print greater than 10. If it is equal, I print equal, else I print less than. So if I write this, it will just print equal to 10, right? But if I come here, I try to change something here, right? I run it again, then you see it's less than 10, right? So this condition will check if my condition is true, and this is basically a variant to Boolean. I don't know if you're familiar. Boolean is just true or false condition. And when one condition is true, it will stop. It will not check the next condition in this case. And we have loop in also in any other programming language in Python, which this is for loop, and there is also a difference between this Python for loop and C or C++ for loop. So this is, we use this range function to go from range to iterate through things, to iterate through things. And this I is the variable that we are going to use, and this range function will just tell us in which range, how many how many values we want. For example, I see here for I in range 10. So basically, in most of the programming language, the default value is n-1. When you give any kind of loop, it's n-1. It will not print the actual value that you give most of the time. It's n-1. So because by default, Python start iterating from 0. So if I say for I in range 10, print I. So basically, if I want to print I, the value of, in each iteration, I will print the value of I. Here, I will start from 0. It will not start from 1, because default Python start from 0. It will print from 0 to 9. So which means it will print 10 digit at all. Overall will be 10 digit, but starting from 0. Let's run the cell. And you can see the value of I at first iteration, second iteration, and 10th iteration, you see 9. Like instead of 10, you see 9, right? So this is how you can see Python work, and you can see it's just showing like this. And we have while loop also, while loop in Python. This work almost the same, and except that in Python we use this colon instead of bracket or square bracket, I mean. Curly braces, yes. All right, so I just initialize a variable here. This will print the same output as the above one. And then I do while I is less than 10. I is equal to 0. So until I is not equal to, until I is not equal to 10, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to perform this operation. And I'm going to print and increment. Increment, this means adding 1 to the previous value. The previous value of I is 0, so I'm going to print 0 first, and then I will increment it. Increment it means I will change from 0 to 1, means 0 plus 1, it will be 1, and then I is 1, it will come here while I is less than 10. I is already 1 is less than 10, it's true. So this will continue unless the condition is false. When the condition is evaluated to false, it will stop. So let's run it. So you see, we got the same thing, same output, right? All right. So we can also use, we can control the execution of our loop by using break and continue. These are just you can use this to control the execution of your code. If you want to, for example, print numbers from 10, from 5 to 10, from 1 to 10, but you only now want to from 1 to 5. So 1 to 4, basically, you will just do the same thing. Like this will print from 1 to 5. Because I put equal, that's why it just showing here. It's equal because if it equal is true, 5 equal to 5, that's true. So that's why it's adding 5 in this case. And this is the same way the continue is working. You can see I just use continue. Continue basically, break, you will stop the iteration at that point. Whenever it encounters that, it stop. But continue will skip that particular number that you are checking, and then it will go to the next iteration. It will not do anything in that one. It will just go to the next iteration. For example, here you will see 6 will not be in my list, in my my range here. It's from 1 to 10, but here you will not be 5, right? And this is very important concept in terms of data analysis list. And this is something that we need to know before doing any kind of project in data science using Python. So which is list, as I was saying, it's just another collection of elements that can be of any type and that are immutable, which means you can change things anytime you want. And this is how I can create a list, A, and then brackets, square brackets. So this is an empty list. This is an empty list of when I print it, you see the list. And this is the list, but I have this just when I print this, I need to put some spaces. So this is a B. B also is a list of numbers. Like I have list of numbers, list of a string. This is just string basically. And if I print this, you will see the first one I have my empty list. This is an empty list, and this is a list of integer, and this is the list of fruit string, and this is a collection of it. Like it has string and mix. For example, this is an integer, list of integer, and this is string, and this is float, right? And this is a list. You can have a list inside a list, so that's also work fine, no problem. And you can slice list and so on. So we will just go over all these things. For example, if I do here, if I want to access the first element of my list, for example, right, the first or the second element of my list, I can just type. All right. There is one thing, if you wanna, like, you can use autocompletion. If I wanna type my list, I already run my list. If I do my and then if I press tab, it will just autocomplete it. If I told you the index start from 0. If I want to access the value of I want to get pineapple here, I have to give the index 1. So it means my list of 1. This will output pineapple because pineapple is at the index 1, second index, because we start from 0. If I want this list, I just have to do 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So if I put 3, if I replace this one by 3, if I replace it by 3, I can get the list that I have inside my list, right? So this works fine. And I have so many other things that I didn't talk about. Like you can, I think maybe we have them below. If not, I will just come back to them. So we can add things to a list. There are so many operations that you can perform on list. For example, appending element into your list. For example, if I want to append an element, I can just append and then I give what I want to append. If I want to append 20 to my list and then print my list. So this will just add 20 at the end of my list. You can see now I have 20 at the end of my list instead of 4, right? Instead of this list, I have 20 here. This will work fine. And you can also delete things. You can using pop or delete. You can use insert to insert things at a specific location, all these things. And this is tuple, so which is another collection of elements and that are unchangeable. You cannot change it once you define you define your tuple. So this is how you can create tuple. You should say t equal to any variable name. I'm just giving t as tuple, and then a parenthesis, which means I have an empty list. So, and then I have list of, oh, tuple, sorry. I have my empty tuple here, and then I have my tuple one, which contains this element. And if I run it, you see the output. I have the empty tuple and the other one. So basically, if I want, if I say I'm going to append anything here, it will just throw an error, right? Let me just show you. If I'm going to append 10 here, this will throw an error because object type object, it doesn't have attribute append, so it's interchangeable. You cannot append anything. And if I replace, if I try to pop anything, so this will also throw an error because pop means removing the last element of my list, my particular object, right? Because everything is object in Python. It's an object-oriented programming, and you can see this will throw an error. So this means this operation cannot be performed. So dictionary is collection of key value pairs which is very convenient for storing information. For example, let's say I'm having this kind of dictionary and checking if somebody is online or not. So this is how you can define a dictionary in Python with this square bracket, right? I think dict and then this, and you have an empty dictionary, and then dictionary username, and then online followers, for example. And then when I print my dict, you will see it will print it username Abdullah online true. It's like online followers. Yeah. So if I want to get access to a particular item element of my object, I have to use the index, the key of that particular object that I want to get access to. So if I want to get username, so I have to do my dict of username, so it will print my username. And if I print my dict of followers, it will just print it, the number, and online also it will print it like you can see here. This is the number of followers. This is true, like I'm online, right? And if you want also, you can get access to, you can print, this is how you can print the the uh, the key of your list key value pairs. You just have to write this for loop for key values in my item.dix, my dix.items. This will just a function that you have to call. This will print the key, the everything that you have, right? Username. Username is the key for the value Abdullah, and then this is online is the key for this. And you make sure that your key should be something that should be something like tuple that is unchangeable, and string is unchangeable like this, right? And so this is, you can also use these if you want to get keys of your dictionary. You have these method that you can use, key values items, right? So if you want to get all the keys of your dictionary, you can use my dictionary.keys, and if you want to get the values, you use my dictionary.values. It will just print all the values of your dictionary. I hope this makes sense. So before I go to function, if anybody has any questions, you can go ahead and ask it. Any questions so far? Is there any question in the chat?
I don't think so for the moment.
All right.
If
Let's
anyone
continue.
has a question, please just ask. Type
Yes.
or unmute your microphone and talk.
All right. So this is a function. So in any programming, most of the programming languages, we have functions. We can define a function, and we will be able to use that function later on to. We can call that function any number of times. Instead of writing the same code again and again, we can write a function, and whenever we need that block of code, we just need to call that function, and we will get that particular code. So basically, this is how you can define a function. So Python has this keyword def, which stands for define a function, and then this is the function name and the argument you give. And then you just, this is a function just to return hello, to greet someone basically, and hello, your name, and so on, right? So let's run it. So you see hello Abdullah. So this is how you can write a function, and this is where I call the function. I call the function to greet, and then I give it to Abdullah. So if I want here, if I want, I can just say right. So if I just type this, it will just display hello alpha. And this, because I'm using the interactive node, otherwise I have to write the print to call my function. And this is how you can define a class in Python. This is also like wait. This is also another way of um, all right. All right. So this is just a simple function to find the factorial of a number. You can see how you can define a function. And this is more, what I did here, this is more Python-y. And this is the best way you could write a Python code. You have to, this one, what is doing is finding a factorial of any given number. And this an int, this is type hint, this will just specify, tell the user, force the user to enter an integer, because Python doesn't, it's not like it's a dynamic type language, and C and Python, C and C++ and Java, they are static type language, for example. I mean by static, where you have to specify the data type while defining the variable. And in Python doesn't have that. It will just manage itself. You just need to specify. And this arrow int also tells us that this function that we created is going to take an input as integer, and then it will return an input of integer as well. So this is the function for finding factorial of number. If I change factorial 5, 120, if I replace this one by 4, it will give me the factorial as 24. I hope this makes sense. And this is just a class in Python, how you can define a class in Python, because it's object-oriented programming. And I have class greetings. And this is the constructor. This is very important. You need to know this one. And this self will just initialize the class as soon as you call the object of the class is instant. When you initialize it, it will just call it automatically. This is why we use the self method. And then I have these two variables, self name and age, self.name equal to name, self.age equal to age. And then I'm defining this function to greet someone, and I'm calling it here, right? So if I just run this, you can see it will just, your name is Abdullah and you are 23. So this makes sense. So the next one is the most important part, which is creation of data frame and series in Pandas, right? So what is data frame? Maybe I don't know if you have it. Data frame is a two-dimensional label data structure with column of potential different type. Maybe you can have of column of same type of different type, but it's a two-dimensional label data that can be of let's just say an Excel file. You have it and it have rows and columns, so it's more than one row, so which means it's a data frame. And there are many ways you can read data from it. There are many ways you can read data from different sources. Like you can get it, you can read the data as CSV, as Excel, as JSON, and so on. So it has so many things. So this is how you can create your own series and so on. So this is how we use Pandas. And these libraries will not come with these libraries. Most of them, they will not come with some, for example, if you are using text editor, you have to install them using pip or using conda to install them. And this is from Pandas import series. So we have this series from Pandas. So we are importing it, and we are just going to create a series. And I just run this cell. I have the series, and then if I print this, I have the series. And this is different from a list. Series is different from a list. Its operation is much more faster than list, right? This is much more faster than list. And I can set index of my series and have the specific index I want for my series. I can just say now, instead of having, but this is by default, it will give numbers from 0 to n minus 1. And in this case, specifying the as I'm specifying the index as A, B, C, D, E. So that's why I'm getting A, B, C, D, E. And you have to just understand that the data type of integer is just up to 2 to the power 64, right? For you to be able to use it. And this is also a way you can create a series with the same index. And you have now, you see, because I add one float here, the data type here is int, here also is int. And if I will need a float, I can just create it. I have one value in my series that is float. It will definitely give it as float. You can see the data type is float here. And if I do type of um, SSS, you see, if I check the type of my SSS, instead of printed list, it will print pandas.co.series.series. It's a series instead of list. You can see that. And this is also, you can also specify the index range of your series while you are creating it. It depends on you from 5 to 15. You can see instead of starting from 0, it's up to you basically. You can use it, and you can slice a series. You can get some index, some value that you want, for example, for your series, right? If I put a series of 10, 10 is here, the index is here, and the value is here. So if I put 10, it will print 5, right? So I have the output here 5, and that's very important. So if I have also, let's put this SS. This is this is basically using string. We can get the index, and we can use also we get the index of this by the index by just giving the basically the index of it. We get the value, you see E, and we get the 95 here. We have 95 here, and we get it here. And we can also add things to our we can insert things by just using it like this. We s of f, for example, we are adding f and we are assigning a value to f, which is 200. And when we run it, you will see 200 will be after. Here we have it 95, and here we have 200 into our particular series. And we can also check, like, if number is greater than 12, we can perform some operation on it, like comparison operators on a series, and that work also fine. Like I can see, and this will just output a boolean true or false. Like whenever it's greater than 12, it will just print it, else true. It will print it, else it will print false. We can also, this one is not looking so nice because you cannot determine exactly what you want. So we can use this inside bracket. Like you can see now, this will only output a series of values where the values, they are greater than 10, 12, sorry. They are greater than 12, but here in this case you can, it's not easy to determine them. And if you want to know the number of elements, for example, if you want to know the number of elements that are greater than 12, you can just do one thing, length of this one. You can do length of this one, and this will just print the length of this one, you see 5. So you can just explain that 5 element has values that are greater than 12 in this case. And this is just a small difference of list and dictionary, and you can see it here. For example, if I have a dictionary and if I put my list, sorry, if I have a list and then I multiply my list into 2, and it will just double it, it will just repeat the same element twice. And if I do it many times, it will do. But if I have a series and I multiply it by 2, it will do the operation on the data itself. For example, I have this series as 12, 13, 7, 80, and if I do into 2, it will multiply each value by 2. For example, 12 into 2 is 24. So that means here, if I do this, I have the same list, like these 12, this is my list, I create a new list, and when I put into 2, it will output this one. It will just try to double it to repeat the same task again. But if I do the same thing on series, you see that it will just output the number in each value that I have. It will multiply it by 2. So you see, I have 12 into 2, it will be 24. 13 into 2, it will be 26, and so on, right? So this is a difference between list and series, basically. And let's come to data frame, which is another very important. So data frame is just a multidimensional arrays or multidimensional, um, you can say, data. So here I'm importing data frame from Pandas, right? And I'm just creating my own data set. This is the data set that I create. You can create your own data and you can read a data set as well. So I create this data set here, and I have this capital and year and population. This is an estimation just, and when I print it, so I can get this nice looking data set. I have this, and this is if I want to check, if I want to check type of df, if I want to check the data type of this one, you see, instead of having a series, I'm having a panda.core.data frame, right? And there is one thing from this series, from this data frame, I can get a series as well, right? So if I do here, type of df of, yeah, right, like this. Oh, what to put here. So you can see this is now still a pandas, it's still pandas.core.series instead of data frame, because as I told you, the difference between core and series and data frame is that series is a one-dimensional array, right? So in this one, I have a single row, so that means it's a series. If I have more than one row, more than one column, sorry, more than one column, then it's a data frame. And I can also check things. I can compare things. I can just check if we can see if which capital is Guinea. So we can see the capital. For example, if I do this, it will just print everything. But wherever I have Guinea, it will not print it. It's different. Like I print every particular data in my data set. This is not equal means if it is Guinea, not equal. If it is different from Guinea, then print it. If it is not, don't print it. So this is why I'm getting other capital and the year and population, but I'm having only Delhi and Washington. I'm not having Guinea. So I can also try to do some comparison operations on my data. So I can check, for example, if I am interested in knowing that the data frame, the data for the year which is greater than 2012. So I can just try to write it like this, and I get a data frame. This is also a data frame that this is slicing, basically. I get this data frame that is greater than the year is greater than 2010. And if you check the data type of this, you will see it's a data frame as well. And you can do that. You can do this and get the maximum population on your data set, right? So if I want to
Excuse
get that, yeah,
I do have a
any,
question.
yes, go ahead.
If you're going to check the data
Mm-hmm.
for which the year is greater than 2010, right? So what
Mm-hmm.
is it? Oh, that number three daily. Oh, you wrote 210. That's right. Otherwise, if it has to be greater than it, that one shouldn't be outputted.
Yeah. Oh, this was like a mistake from the
Yeah.
above data set. Yes.
Oh, sorry, I didn't also say it.
Yeah, in this one there was a mistake. I just see it. It's greater, so that's why it's showing. If it wasn't greater, it would not show because there is no equal. So if it is greater, then it would not show definitely. If I put greater than equal, then it will show it if it was only 2010.
Sure.
Is that clear?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
All right. So this will just give us the index where the index of the maximum value of the population, which is 4. You can see it here. And also we can also slice a data frame. For example, if you want to see the capital and year only, you can do something like this. Only these two, we are not interested in population, for example. We can just do it like this. We can do inside bracket, you put another bracket and you give the list of features means column that you want, and this dot head is going to print only the first 5 rows of your data frame. Otherwise, by default, if you have a very big data set, you try to print the data frame, it will only print the next 10 rows, the first 10 rows of your data, and the last no, sorry, the first 5 rows of your data and the last 5 rows of your data. So overall will be 10. So if you use head will only print the first 5 rows of your data. And you can also sample it. This means you are going to select things randomly from your data, and you just need to give the number of sample you want. So I need 5 sample of my data that can be selected randomly. This is a bit of statistic if you have gone through statistic like random sampling. So this is what we call random sampling. It will select from our data things randomly, and if I run it again, you might get different output, and if I run it again, different output can come. So it's not fixed, right? As you can see, it makes sense, right? So this is how you can subset things, and if you have any questions, you can ask. Otherwise, we can try to now use a real life data. We can try to use a data frame that is used for clinical analysis, clinical treatment for the kidney treatment. Like they want to check the failure of the chance of a patient to get a kidney failure. So if you have any questions, go ahead and ask, please.
I don't have a question, but I would like just um, can you please just share any resources for those of us the data science and data analysis? Um,
Yes.
beginner friendly resources in mind. You can just share the URL for them so they can go through
Yes,
it.
definitely. I'll share it at the end. I share a lot of places, and yeah, definitely I share it. No problem.
Sure. Perfect.
Have that in mind. All right. So if there is no questions, and we can continue. So this is basically, if you have the notebook, you can see that this is the data set. Like I have it also on my GitHub. If you want to download it, you can go ahead and download it. But I already put it into that repo where you can put it, and when you download or clone the repo, you will have the data set. So this is where we try to download, and the data set is CSV. CSV stands for comma separated values. So the values that I have, they are separated by comma. Let me just go ahead and try
Mhm.
to show it to you. You see, this is the data set, how it looks. It's just the delimiter, you see it's comma, right? Can you see it? Delimiter, comma, so it means this is the comma separated value, CSV. Makes sense, right?
Yes.
All right. Oh, sorry. All right. So this is what we do. This is how basically we start a project after identifying all the stuff that I talk about, the scope of the project and what the means, what the project is how the project we are going to benefit from the project, and we get the relevant data, and we have the flowchart of how we are going to do the project. So this is the first step that we need to do. We have to load the data. So this is import pandas as PD. This is a standard thing. You can import pandas as anything, but by default, it's like convention. We use PD, and this is import matplotlib.pyplot as PLT. This is also a convention. This is for plotting. This is for the loading the data and doing some manipulation analysis. And SNS import Seaborn as SNS. This is also a convention of importing Seaborn. And we import NumPy as NP. This is also a convention. We import NumPy is a numerical computer library for fast mathematical operations on matrix and integration and statistic as well. For example, like if you need those, yeah. So this line, I want to just everything make sure that it's so in my notebook, right? In my notebook, and this is just to resize the plot that I'm going to do. This is what this PLT dot this parameter fixed size is going to do. And this is the data set. Like if you have any data that you have, you can read it using panda pd.read, and then read that will just give you the different type. For example, if you want to read anything, for example, I saw say gk equal to pd.read. If I do that, if you want to do like that, and then you put a tab, it will complete it, right? So the tab will do auto completion for you. So this is how we can read the data set. And the data set now, uh, oh, I didn't run this set, sorry. So I have to run this set first, and then I have the pandas now. Now I load the panda. Now the pandas is ready. If I press df, now I will see the data frame, all the data that I had there. And this is very important. You can see these are the columns that I have: ID, BPC, SB, SU, RBC, RP, and PCC. So all this column, I didn't want to change this. It's fine. And you will see I give the detail of this below. And you see the number of rows is 400 rows and 26 columns, right? Makes sense. And these are the information of your data set, like which one, age, BP, mean blood pressure, and so on, right? You can just come here to refer to what each of these mean. And this is just, we are going to inspect it like the data frame and do some analysis. So this df mean it's our data frame dot column will just give us all the columns, and to list is an additional function that I'm going to give to get me all the columns that I have in a list form. Like this will get it everything in a list, like all my columns that I have for my data set, they are here as a list. And you can see I have this classification. If I was doing any kind of machine learning, and that's mean this is my target variable. So if I do head, this will give me the first 5 rows of my data. TF of head, you see the first 5 rows of my data, and 26 column, 5 rows, 26 columns, right? And you cannot see all of your rows here. You can see dot means you have some extra things, but here it will tell you the number of columns that you have for your data set. So this is what I was explaining, how you can subsample your data. You can take some of the sample of your population, and so that if you don't want to represent everything. So this sample, we will select 5 rows randomly from my dataset and then display it. So this is what the sample is doing. So this df of info is very important. It is showing me some numerical information, basic information about my data. For example, it will tell me the data type. It's a panda class, the class of my data. So panda.core.data frame, I know it's a data frame, and the rand index, the index of my data set start from 0 to 399. This will tell me the number of sample that I have, and this is telling me the total columns. This basically give you an overview of your data, and this will only show you the null count also that you have to understand. The non-null count, it will tell you, non-null count means the value that are not missing. If it is missing, it won't count it. So here we have ID, nothing is missing. It's our primary key. So for 400 rows, so it's 400 and non-null, right? And then the data type is here also. You can see the data type of float. And then we have age. We have, when we see here, we instead of having, normally you're supposed to have 400, but we are having 391, which means we are having missing values, right? It's missing, some are missing. So we have to look into that later, right? And you can see this is also missing and so many things. You just have to come here. And the data type also, you can see we have int 64 is equal to it's just a int, like normal int with 64-bit integer. And then float also, 64 is float, normal float. Object, whenever you see object, which stands for string, it means it's a string, it's not a number. You cannot do any kind of numerical operation on object, on this kind of object. It's categorical, basically. And you see, this will tell you the total number of data type. For float is 11. I have one int and then 14 object, like the data type. 14 columns have data type as object. So this will tell you. And the memory uses, and this is the memory size of my data set as well. This is very. So I decided to change the classification to target. So this is how you can rename a column of your data frame. You can use data frame equal data frame to rename, and then you give the column name by telling the old name and the new name, the old target, the old value that you have, and the new target that what you want to change. So this will just go ahead and change it. And now if I do the describe, you will see it will change classification to target, right? This classification we will no longer see it. So this describe function, it will give us some statistical overview of our data. For example, the mean, the interquartile range, and the minimum, the maximum, and so on. So let's run it. So you see the count, and this will tell us the count. Count means the non-null count, the non-null value of each count. It will count the number of elements in each row, and it will tell us the mean, the minimum of that particular row. And this will basically work only for numerical data. If you have object, it will not show up in this case. This is the standard deviation, the minimum. This is the interquartile range of my data. This is the maximum value, you can see. And this is the shape of the data, basically tells us how many rows and columns we have. Rows, the number of rows is 400, the number of columns 26. This is shape. And if I want to get only the number of rows, I can shape of 0. This will just output the number of rows that I have in my data frame. So you can find the length of your data also, right? You can use df of length to find the length of your data frame as well, and some other stuff. So this is, I just want you all to, this is just an exercise, but I can see we don't have enough time, so you can try to practice to do this exercise alone. You can just try to create a data frame and then print the header of this one. So this is the analysis part that will not take 30 minutes because we don't have enough time. So we try to go a bit fast. So accessing column in a data frame. So for example, if I want a particular column in my data set, I have to use the bracket and then the column name. For example, I can get the ID and it will tell me the data type. And then if I want to check the data type of a particular columns, particular feature or variable, it will just show me the data type. And I can combine them as a series or as a frame. It will just tell me also this. You see, I have these WC and PCC. So this is my target, as I was telling you, and this unique, this is very important. This unique will basically tell me the unique element of my my particular column. For example, how many unique elements that I have. I have 2 unique elements. If I want the numerical, the number of the number of unique element in that particular column, I can do n unique. So n unique will tell us, you can see it's 2 um, instead of printing kidney, not no kidney having disease. This is object also like a string. So here I want to see also the unique value for PC, and you can see PC. I think it will just, you see normal and abnormal, like, and you have none also. None is just, if it is missing, anything that is missing, it is represented as none. None is not a number, right? And you can access things also using using a lock, means location based. It will just give you the location of a particular after you give like the variable, it will just try to locate it and find it for you. If I want, for example, to access a record where the value, for example, the patient ID is 20, for example, I want that. This will just give me that. And then where I want to just to get all the age, all the data frame where the age equal to 20, basically. In my whole data frame, I needed to know how many people, for if I need to know how many people in my whole data set has age equal to 20, I can try to do length of this particular thing. It will print 2. So this will tell me in this whole data frame, looking at age, where age equal to 20, we have only 2 people, 2 patients basically. And also you can do the same thing, right? Without using the lock, by using, you have to be careful here. You have data frame inside. Also, you have the data frame where you ask the question, data frame where data frame of age equal to 20. So this will print the same thing basically. You see, you get the same output. You can use log, or you can use this slicing way. Which one? The one you like, you use it. So this is more Panda. This is more analysis. This is more common. Basically, it's so common in analysis, and you can use it also to check multiple conditions. For example, not a single one. For example, you want to also check, to use this as a button. You want to select people where the age is 20 and the PC equal to normal, right? You can just take it like this. You can use the and, this and operator. And I told you in Python you can and, for example, and, but in Pandas you cannot use and. You cannot type the and, a and d. You cannot type that. You use this and operator as C++ or C, because I believe it's built on it's like an implementation is using C++. So this will give us these two, and this and will just check for these operations. And you can sort a data frame by values if you want to sort them. For example, if I want to sort the age by values, I can just df.sort values and then give what I want to sort, and it will sort it. Like now I got a data frame where the age is sorted in ascending order. That's the default, and you can see here the where is the age. So it started from 2 years old until 5, right? It's sorted in ascending order. If you want, like, if you don't want ascending order, you can just give this extra argument ascending equal to 4, and then it will just do it in descending order, in reverse order. You can sort multiple things also. For example, I take a subset of my data, I use it here, ID, and I sort it by ID, and ID doesn't make sense. Let me change ID to AL.
We only have left now.
Yes, we are almost done. Yeah. So you can see these are my unique element. I already done that. So if I want to replace things, I want to replace my target to something else. I can just use the replace function that will replace. I will map this. This is where I told you that dictionary is very important. So now I'm using a dictionary to do the mapping key values there. I'm mapping ch if it is like kidney. If the patient has kidney failure, and then I put 1. If not, I put 0, right? Means true or false, for example. If I run it, you see it's giving me 0 1 0 1 0 1. And this is where you can check. This is just a visualization of how you can see the missing value of each column. So this is a bit handy, and you can just have a look at it and you will get it definitely. Percentage of missing values of each column on my data set. This is the cat plot. This is a categorical plot. You can visualize things to see, as I told you, how which one is greater here, the number, the person which has the disease, or those who do not have, for example, zeros and one. I plot it here, and you can see it here. And you can see that the people that are don't have it, they are very not having it, they are very less, and these are greater than that. And this is the unique, also will tell you the unique element, and you can see here all the thing that you have. You can see none and so on. So you have to be careful with these things. For example, you will see some weird things on some of these data, and you have to make sure that you replace that correctly. For example, if I look at this data, this column RC, I have this question mark, and I don't know what question mark mean here. So I just consider it, I have to handle this. And for example, if I don't pay attention on this, I will just try to analyze my data, and when I apply any numerical operation, it will fail. And I wonder, I just did it correctly. Why it's not showing? Because I didn't pay attention on this, and it's showing this right. And it's the same thing, like I'm just showing this because we have so many weird things. And this is also same thing, and this is also a string. You can see the quote between these, so which means it's a string. You have to be careful to check this properly, that this data is just relevant and it has the proper data type. And for this, you have to change the data type of this. So this is almost the same thing. I was just looking at exactly this. And this is how I replace anything wherever I have question mark, I replace it by none, first of all, because I need something none. I don't know nothing, not a number. I replace it by none. And these are I use the replace function, and in place true will stand for change this to my original data frame. In your original data frame, it will change it from there only. And when you change it, and this is like where I'm going to anchor it. I need to change all categorical data wherever I have like these values. I have let's say this is CKD and not CKD. I have to change it to 0 and 1. So I use this get dummy to do that, right? So now if I check the data type, you see most of my data, they are already int 8. Like int 8, when I get dummy, it will just change the data type to unsigned int. Int means unsigned int, 8-bit, right? And I showed you here some data. For example, this one, they are string because they are having this code between them. So you have to make sure that you change the data type. And this row, so this one will just change that, will change the data type as type, and then I give the type of my data that I want, like as type float 64, and it's giving me that. And then I'm replacing every missing value by the mean of the data, right? And then when I try to plot it, this heat map will basically check, for example, if there is any missing data. So I just heat map, do sns.heatmap df.isna. Wherever I have is now will tell me if there is any missing values. And you can see everything is same color, which means everything is filled fine. I don't have any missing values. And this is a histogram. You can plot a histogram, and this histogram will tell you, this histogram will tell you basically how your data is distributed. And you can see that it's between 90, almost between 90 and 2 years old and 90. Like this is the space between these. And this is the yeah, this is what it is. And this is for the target. You can see the value count of this. If you want to get the percentage of each target, like you have which one, the percentage of each one you use, the normalize equal to 2, that will give you a percentage thing, and you have to convert it, use the 100% to get it. And this count plot will just plot this basically to tell you this is the target, our target. And now you see, instead of having nck, and then we have now zeros and ones, so it means we already have the proper format needed for this. And this is one we want to check, like the rest. We want to explore the appetite and the target, like if there is a relationship between these, right? So if you can see here, it's one, which means the person has it. So the person that has bad appetite, they are also prone to the disease, right? You can see it here, it's having high. And those who are not prone, and they are having small, here, small appetite, right?
We have 3 minutes left.
Yeah, this one is almost the same. So I think that's only this box plot I want to explain. So I was talking about the box plot that will give you the extreme values. So you can see these are extreme values. If you talk about the age, we have these points that are very far away from the other data, and you can see that. And if we were training a model, like if these are too much, we have to cut them off. We have to try to find a way to handle it. So um, I think this is pretty much about it. So this was just, I want to just show this correlation, how the data is correlated. And if you want to do some subsetting things, you can do. I think um, this is the, I just want to show this model, and I just explore it, which we're just building a model, because we talk about model building, and this is how you can just use it to get more insight about your data. And you can see this is the high the value, the more the good the data. And this is just a random sample that I created and train a linear regression model on it. And you can see that this is the square, the to check how my data is good. And this is the p-values in terms of statistics. You can use them. So this is all about the talk. So this is summary of the talk, and I think we cover most of the things. We go over the basic of introduction to data science. We go over Jupyter. We talk about data frame and series. We inspect the data. We use count, sorting the data, and unique, and we use index. And we do some plotting for bar, histogram, and box plot, heat map. So thank you. And if you have any question, you can ask. And if you like this talk, you can follow me on GitHub at Abdullah GK. You can follow me on Twitter as well. It's same tag. And if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and ask. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. Well, this was a great talk. Anybody has a question in mind?
Any questions?
We only have a minute left. I don't know if the meeting is going to end, but let's just see. If you have some questions in mind, you can just ask them maybe in the chat box. You can unmute your microphone and ask a question.
Yes.
Who has a question? All right.
Any questions?
Abdullah, in the meantime, let's
Mhm.
okay, it's officially 6 p.m. and the meeting has not ended. Can you just go ahead and try to share the resources you were talking about, the ones that are beginner friendly?
All right. So I basically mostly I started by going over the documentation of each library. They are very much well documented. So if you go to Pandas,
Mm-hmm.
I will say it like, if you go to Pandas, this is you will see everything is here. Like, get started. Everything is here. Like, they will explain you everything. Like, if you want to read everything is here. Basically, you can just selection, and in terms of selection, it will teach you everything with example, how you can select things, how you can do things. Documentation is very important, and you cannot use a library without going to documentation. So let me share this. Documentation is very important, and I really do read documentation before anything yet. Let me share this through the chat here. All right. So I do what else? And if you want also matplotlib, basically you can just mat. So this is also the documentation of matplotlib documentation, and everything is here. You just need to click on tutorials, and you will be able to read if how to plot things and so on. And they will explain everything. You have the bar menu. If you want to change anything here, it's here. Like they just explain everything in a very nice way. You can also have a look at it. But I'll share a book that I read. I don't remember the name unless I just need to check. Let me go ahead and check the book. Do I have the book here? I don't know. Let me just go and check. I think I don't have it now. So I shared the book. I get it. I shared the book. So that's the book for pandas. That's the best book that I found online that I got, and it was so much helpful. Um, the book was so good. I shared that book and share any other resources that I got. If I just think of them, I don't remember all of them right now. I will share them on WhatsApp and Discord as well.
Perfect.
Is that okay? Yes.
Yeah, perfect. That's awesome.
All right. So if there is any questions, we can um, proceed further.
Harshit, are you there? Hello, Harshit, are you there? All right, he's the host, so we couldn't wind up the meeting without him. But yeah, maybe he's having.
All right.
All right. Anybody here has a question from Tejasvi, Abdul Majid Ibari, Rashid?
I have a question.
All right.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
It's about the emission value. How much can we be sure hmm, uh, of the certainty of our model for this missing value? This is my question.
All right, so if we are about to train a model, we cannot train any machine learning model without handling properly the missing values. We have to either, that's also a very important point. Sometimes those missing values, they are very important. If they are important, you have to know that when they are important and when they are not important. If they are important, you have to handle them. How can you handle them? You can replace them by mean, you can replace them by mode, you can replace them by median. And when do you need to replace them by mean? Mostly when you have big numbers, it's better you replace them by mean. And if you have small number, like you have kind of ordinal number, I mean ordinal which order? Like you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's all in order. And that in that case, using the mode is very important. And also you have to check first which one is greater. You have to check the value count of it. And when you see one class is greater than the other, if it is 2 times over the other class, you use the mode. And there is one thing, like you can also drop them. You can drop the missing values. And dropping the missing values has a problem. If you try to drop a missing values, and when you drop that one, it will drop all the whole row. And while you drop that, you will miss a lot of information. In some case, for example, if you have 90 or 80% of your data is missing in that particular row, and you see that drop, nah, you will drop all that one. If you drop 80% or 70% of your data, how much data you have, and that's data is very small. That's not important. That will not give you a strong information. It will not give you a good information. So what you could do is to, you can also use fill now by using forward fill or backward fill. For these are things that I don't recommend using. Forward fill, what is doing, it will check, for example, I have missing values, I have one, I have missing value, it will check the, I have, it will replace the next missing value by one, it will go forward, like if it is the next one is missing, it will replace it by the previous one. Backward also, it will start from back, the down, and then it will check if the other one is missing, it will replace. But there is a problem when you have, when you start, when the back, the starting point is missing, it will not be able to replace it by a number, so you still have missing. So that's why it's always good you replace it by either mean or mode. These are the most common things. Or if you have very small data, you can also drop it, you can drop the data also. But usually me, I used to drop data long time back, but um, after reading and talking to some people, they told me never drop your data. Just try always to find a way to handle it. Replace it by missing, by mean, mode, and median, something like that, and try to use it. And those information is very important because your machine learning model needs so much data, so that it will learn from that data to give you a better accuracy. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. So for you, the best way to find out a missing value, it is to go through the mean, right?
Yeah, you have to know the mean or the median, you replace it if it is not important, and that depends also the column. For example, if your column you see it very important, then you replace it, else you just don't need it. You need to even drop that particular column.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
All
Any
right,
other questions?
that was a great question. Any other question from anyone else?
Yeah, I like that question. Good.
Yeah, that was a great one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm. Any question from Mukhtar or Harshit or Fatim or Priyanshi or Subhashmita? You can drop
No,
your
that was
question.
really great. Abdullah, that was really awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations, bro. You really did
Yeah,
a good job.
basically, we, the time is like, I think I prepared so much things for a small amount of time. So uh, we will definitely try to have some more session where we take only use a real life data and do a very nice like data science project and apply machine learning to predict on something, and we will just do everything from scratch. Like that would be like a workshop, and that if we could like have that offline, that would be also better, so that people will practice it itself. Like that also will be fine.
Yeah,
Also, I hope that there will be another session because it is a good session to
The,
learn, and also to add something because uh, for us, for our business analytic, because I'm doing business analytic and
yes,
I don't do too much programs. I don't have too much program. I just have to learn how it's going on. So
exactly.
if you can give some exercise and something for us, it's gonna be good for us.
No problem. Definitely, I'll share with you very nice resources. Like it's just getting lazy, having the time to read. Otherwise, there are wonderful resources that you can learn in.
Okay,
There
thank
are
you.
also some people that are having some YouTube channel where they explain things in a very nice and easy way to understand. So I'll share everything that I could possibly do for this. People will definitely learn. We will learn together, and this is the aim of this club. Definitely to learn together
Thank you.
yeah,
and grow together.
yeah. And I think I did drop some links. The first one to our Google Developer Students Club chapter, so you can join it. And anytime we have any event, even if it's related to whatever it is, or data science related stuff, you'll have like you'll be receiving emails of that one. So you guys can join it. I did also drop the one related to annual solution challenge because we are told to promote it. We need people to go and compete at that global level, and also the one of the Google developer, uh, the Google technologies that are out there which you can use to kind of let's say level up. Awesome talk, Abdullah. To be honest, like we all were expecting this, and yeah, this was an awesome talk. Thank you so much for that.
No
I think
problem.
if you have questions, Harshit, if you can please wind up the session for us as you're the host. Harshit, over to you. Um, I don't think so. All right.
So this was the session by Abdullah today, and this was really great. I really appreciate this session, and thank you so much, Francois, for just making this event. And a special thanks to Abdullah for giving your precious time and who's leading this event. And I'm looking forward to learn from you. And in fact, the entire community is looking forward to contribute and learn from each and everyone. So this is for today, everyone. And if you have any questions, please put it in the chat box. And if you have any queries more, you can also ping us on our WhatsApp group. We are really, uh, happy to help you all. And that's all for today. Hoping to see you in the next session. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and
Yeah, thank
thanks
you,
everyone for
and have
joining.
a great evening. Yo, bye.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Yeah, you
Bye,
guys may
everyone.
leave them. Bye bye.
All right, fine. I need just one photo. So I already
Okay, go
took.
ahead.
Yeah, I already
Yeah,
took it.
sure.
Fine, fine. I took a screenshot of it. That great. That's good.
I took some and I dropped it in the group.
All right, no problem. That
Yeah, I
that can.
just saw that.
Yeah, definitely. That's pretty cool, and all have a wonderful and enjoyable weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, bye.
Mhm.